It is the most annoying thing in the world when you've been talking to someone who you've been hoping will be your client as a travel agent, and they've been asking you for tips and recommendations, and they may have taken up a lot of your time already. Maybe you've even sent them blog posts written by you or otherwise. You've sent them YouTube videos. You have been a great service to them, and then they end up booking themselves on Expedia or with an agent at Costco, or even worse than that, with a different travel agent. It is so incredibly frustrating, and I just want to empathize with you for a second that if you are experiencing that, it is very normal. It is like a hallmark milestone experience in every single travel agent's career to be ghosted by at least one client, but it's going to keep happening until and unless you put some systems and structures in place to keep it from happening. And I'm sure you've already been thinking about this. Okay, maybe I should charge a research fee to prevent these people from just completely ghosting and sucking my time. Okay, if you're not going to book with me, then at least you would have paid something. That is exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to talk about what research fees are, how much we should be charging, when and how to charge a fee, like how do you physically set it up, all of that. Hi, by the way, my name is Brittany. I've been a travel agent myself since 2020. Since building a successful group travel business myself as a travel agent, I've also helped over 100 people sell more than $6 million in travel as travel agents. And that's not including MLM or affiliate commissions or anything like that. It's straight travel sales. So I want you to know you're in good hands, you're in the right place. Travel Agent Haven is the brand and YouTube channel I built to be the safest place for travel agents on the internet, as well as a safe place for you to learn about becoming a travel agent and eventually making a full-time income working part-time hours. So if that sounds good to you, we're in the right place. Let's talk about research fees. So what is a research fee? Simply put, a research fee is a non-refundable fee for your time. It's a way to help you qualify clients. Basically, qualifying clients just means making sure that they're really serious, that they're ready to book, because many times people will come to us when they're still in the exploratory inspiration phase, right? They're thinking about taking a trip, they're interested in travel, but they haven't really fully committed in their mind yet. And in that place and time, they're not ready to book with you. But what this does is it helps filter out the people who are interested in booking versus the people who are ready to book. And the nice thing about it is, because it's totally possible that someone could be talking to multiple travel agents or companies at the same time, they are shopping around. Honestly, a savvy, smart shopper will do that. You want to say, my services are different, I'm an expert, and it's not just about you, right? It's about reassuring them that you're not like everybody else, that if they end up booking with you, you're a professional, and there is something to be said that when you value your time, other people will value your time better too. I'm not sure why or how that works. It's just one of those things that the way you carry yourself emanates from you, and it will come across in your interactions with clients and potential clients, because they're prospects at this point. We don't actually know if they're going to end up being our clients, but they're interested, right? They've expressed interest, they're a lead. So the fee, honestly, whatever you want to call it, in the travel agent world, we know this as a research fee, but you can call it any number of things. I know that in the travel blogger creator space, there's a growing trend in offering itinerary planning services, and it makes me chuckle a little bit because I'm like, oh my gosh, travel agents are already doing that. We're already planning the itinerary for free. We should just be charging a fee for that, and then we'll make money guaranteed for our time, and then we get the commissions on the back end. But it's really important that if you are going to be charging a fee, that you clarify what it's for, what's included, what's not. Is there a type of deliverable or service that the client can expect? And always, 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 no matter whether you're an independent travel agent with your own agency, you're working with a host agency, which is very normal now, or you're working with a brick and mortar company, which at that point, they've probably already set the fee structure, you always want to clarify exactly what is included in the fee. So a research fee typically includes the actual putting together of the itinerary, looking up flight information, so basically doing everything except for actually booking the flights and then putting that together for them. But for some people, it doesn't. For some people, it's literally just, you are paying me $25, $50, we'll get into pricing in a minute, to look up the preliminary itinerary, not even including the itinerary planning yet. So you just want to be really clear. There's really no wrong answer here. You're always going to have people who say, oh no, I'm not paying for that. And then you go, okay, that's fine. But you also have to be okay with possibly turning away clients. And we will talk about how you know you're ready to start charging a fee later on in the video. So make sure you stick around for that. But you definitely want to be clear that it's not your commission. It's not part of your commission. And you always want to emphasize that unless there is a fee to work with you. I think it's really good to reiterate with your client that travel agents are paid based on commission. We're always loyal to the needs of the client, right? Whatever it is they need, they are the person we're really working for. We're not working for the cruise lines, for the tour companies, for the hotels. We're always acting in the best interest of our client. When I was first getting started as a travel agent, I was a full-time teacher. So there was no way I knew already that I could even be available when something went wrong with their flight if they're on the other side of the world and it's 2:00 in the morning where I am, because I had to be up in a few hours to go teach a full day at school. So I had to set my expectations very clearly from the beginning with my clients about what I was including as far as a service, what I was going to be available for, when I would be available, how they could reach me, all of that. And that honestly is a whole video in itself about setting expectations and working with clients. But it's especially important when we're charging fees for legal reasons, though I'm not a lawyer, all the disclaimers, but then also just for building that safety and trust with the client, because you are building a business relationship. I was charging flight research fees because I told them, and I do still believe this today, that with the aviation industry, right, with flights, things can change on a dime, last minute. Anyone who's traveled knows this. They've had a flight delayed, canceled. You could even be on the flight and then it gets diverted mid-flight because of an emergency. Like, it's just such a new world now. And because of that, I don't really feel comfortable booking flights for clients, to be honest. And they're usually not worth it commission-wise, unless you work with a certain partner or supplier or vendor that includes flights as part of a package. Most of the time, it's not really worth it. It's better for them to just book the flight themselves. But what I will do is I will set Google Flight Alerts. They could do the same thing, but many people don't know how to do that and they don't want to bother with learning how. I know someone is watching this and thinking, oh my gosh, that's so easy. If it's easy to you, that's why you should be the travel agent, right? Because this stuff is easy and quick for you. It's not easy and quick for them. So I do the research. I find them a good flight. I put all the information together and make either a nice spreadsheet or a way to visually represent everything. And then I might even do a screen recording, right? Like walking them through their options. This airline has this class of ticket, includes this. And then I send it over to them. So that is a deliverable if it's a flight research fee for me. And that worked really well. It was especially great in the beginning of my journey where maybe I had some friends or family members who were like, I don't really know if I want to trust this girl who hasn't booked much travel yet to book my all-inclusive vacation or my cruise. But okay, yeah, I'll pay $25 or $50 or whatever it is. Honestly, it's usually lower to research some flights for me. Why not? So that's something you can try out. Although usually I will say you don't want to start charging fees until you are already getting so many requests for bookings that you would be okay with turning people away, unless you also offer some kind of service in tandem with what you do as a travel agent, or kind of an alternative offer. So say you're talking with a friend or family member. I teach this process where I have you manually, organically, kindly reach out and get 100 leads that way. I'll be sure to put that video card here on the video so you can go watch that one after this. It's really, really important. Honestly, sales 101. If you can nail that, you'll be set. But basically what you do is you're just reaching out to people and saying, how can I possibly help you? Now, the tough thing about being a travel agent as a service is that people don't always need a travel agent, right? It's one of those things that you don't look for a travel agent until you know you're planning and booking a trip. So you have to be proactive to put yourself in the minds of the people who would be booking with you, because they need to think of you when it's time for them to book a trip, right? Oh yeah, I was just talking to Jill and she became a travel agent. That's right. I was talking with her. You know what? I have her business card. Let me go get that for you. That is what we have to do. So we have to take actions now to really be setting ourselves up for success 3 to 6 months from now. But if you're still newer, if you haven't had your first 10 clients yet, you could definitely charge flight research fees. If you know how to use Google Flights, Skyscanner, Momondo, great apps and tools, by the way, then you can definitely do this for clients. In fact, I even have a little mini class about how I book travel in a very different way, both for myself and for clients, using Google Travel and Google Flights. It's very affordable. I'll be sure to link it in the video description below if you want to check it out. It's 30 minutes to an hour. It's very fast. And if you use that same process, you have my full permission to go and charge $25, $50, $75 for that service for someone else. Obviously, don't give them access to the course, right? But you can take what you learn in that course, offer that as a service, and you'll get your money back on the first booking. So I love fees when they're done intentionally, thoughtfully, and when they're marketed in the right way. Okay, so now we know what these different fees are. Let me just recap them for you. So we're really talking about research fees in this video, but the real question you have, right, is should you charge a research fee? And of course, I can't answer that for you because unless I know you personally, I don't really know enough about your backstory to do that. But here are some ways to know that you might be ready. If you've been ghosted one too many times and it's getting you so frustrated that you're at the point where, okay, you actually are making some money, but that frustration of being ghosted so many times is enough to make you think, I don't want to do this. Actually, like, this is so annoying that it actually makes it less enjoyable for me to get what I want out of being a travel agent. If that's where you are, then you should definitely charge a research fee, if for for no other reason than to save your sanity and help you qualify and filter out leads. A qualified lead is someone who's ready to book almost immediately. Those are the people we want to work with as travel agents, but it takes some time and practice to get to a point where you can suss out whether or not someone's really ready and qualified. So a research fee is a quick and easy-ish way for you to do that while also getting paid a little bit for your time and validating that belief internally that you are a professional, because you might be having some inner conflict about that as well. So one way to know if you're ready for a research fee is if you're getting so many inquiries and they're not really ready. Another one is similar but not quite the same, right? There's the ghosting. So one way to know you're ready for a research fee is if you're getting ghosted. That's super annoying. Totally get it. Another way related to that reason I just said is if you're just getting too many inquiries from non-serious or non-ready clients. And let me just give you 2 examples here so you can see what I mean. One client comes to you and says they are getting married and they're planning their honeymoon. They're going back and forth between going to Italy, Greece, or Croatia. They know they're getting married. They've recently gotten engaged, but they don't know if their honeymoon's going to be in August, in July. But you know what? Actually, they might go in October, or maybe they'll go in May. Okay, so that's person number 1. Person 2, they are also getting married. They're also planning their honeymoon, but the date has been set for their wedding. They've already requested the PTO off for the specific dates, and they know they want to go to Italy. The only thing they're really trying to figure out, though, they know the dates, they know Italy. They just don't know, do they want to go to Positano? Do they want to go to Cinque Terre this time? Do they want to go to Sicilia and be in Sicily? Do they want to do Lake Como this time? So they're just trying to figure out where in Italy, but they already know when. They know their budget. Their budget is firm because they've set this aside. The dates are firm because they have them confirmed off already with them and their spouse or spouse-to-be. Which person sounds more ready to book? Person number 2, right? So just from that, and that comes from practice. You won't know how to suss out a person's readiness to book until you've been talking and working with several people. So you just need to have that experience in practice. If you haven't had that experience in practice yet, that's what you really need to be working on and focusing on, is just getting that experience under your belt. But a research fee is great because it helps to filter out the people who aren't quite ready yet. And then another way to know if you're ready to start charging a research fee is if you're offering really custom planning or high touch service, especially if you're working with more of a luxury market or you're doing really advanced, complicated itineraries. I used to do these multi-country Europe itineraries. I still do from time to time, but I don't offer them nearly as much anymore. And now I just flat out charge for them because it takes so much time, especially because I want to do a good job, right? Now that I have a proven business, I have testimonials, I have all that. So at the beginning, you can't usually charge $250, and I shouldn't say can't. You could do whatever you want, but my professional experience and my personal recommendation would be that you would not do that. You always want to start lower because you don't have as much experience yet, right? Unless you have a lot of experience, you start lower, and then for every successful one where you do a good job, you get a good review and testimonial, you raise your rates. So I usually tell people start with $25, $30 because for most people, if they do an hour of work, preliminary research or less, they can usually feel good about $25 to $30. If that number is 50 for you, then you can start with 50. Just bear in mind, of course, the higher you go, if you don't have any experience, if you have no reviews, no testimonials, and then you try to charge a higher number, it is less likely that someone will pay that. And then you will turn other business away, which could mean hundreds or thousands of dollars on commissions at the back end. So you have to do a little bit of math and gymnastics there mentally to figure out what is going to be worth it for you. So if you're a newer agent and you're still building up your confidence, your competence, and your client base, then it is not a good time for you to charge a research fee or for itinerary planning services yet, unless, caveat here, if you actually came into being a travel agent as a travel blogger or a travel creator first, maybe you're more of an influencer, so you already have an audience or a community, or you've grown an email list or a podcast or a YouTube channel. So you have some kind of audience already that they already knew you and liked you and trusted you and they knew you as a travel expert before you became a travel agent, then yes, you could totally do that. But if you are brand new to this whole game and you're like, oh my gosh, YouTube, I can't even think about that. Why is Brittany talking about that? Then definitely don't charge a research fee yet. Wait until you've had at least 10 clients booked, happy, and either have reviewed you or recommended you. You also want to think about if you are focusing on prepackaged travel or quick turnarounds, right? So if you're focusing mostly on cruises or all-inclusive vacations, then it might not make as much sense for you to do a research fee because depending on where you go, there might only be so many options. It could still work, right? Because maybe you're looking up the specific resorts and you're doing an in-depth comparison for that person's specific needs. So there's always going to be a way to position it, but I do think that once you have that in-depth experience or demonstration demonstrated niche experience that they know, okay, I'm not just paying for this person's time, because you have to think about the customer's perspective, right? They don't care about your time, right? You care about your time. They don't. They care about getting what they need. So you need to position it in a way to show them that they can trust you. They're paying for a valuable service, not just your time. What are they going to get? So it has to be really clear for them. Okay, when do you charge a research fee? This can be hard, right? Like, when do you charge it? Like, how do they pay? When do they pay? We'll get to that in a minute. What do they physically do to pay? It can start really simple, but I would recommend charging for the research fee. If it is a research fee, a true research fee, I would charge for that before any research begins. So that means no sending of itineraries, no custom work of any kind at all until and unless that research fee is paid. And if there's a contract, they sign that. That depends on how you have it set up. Now, if you do have a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, an Instagram page where you can send reels, a TikTok profile where you can send videos to them, then that could be an alternative, right? Maybe you say, hey, my research fee is $50. Here's the link for that. And they say, ooh, no. Or they just don't come back to you. Maybe they ghost you after that. You could follow up with them and say, hey, maybe you didn't see this, wasn't sure if you're interested, but here's another blog post to check out in the meantime. So that way you can still offer them something of value for free if you'd like, but then you're lovingly reminding them, like, hey, you said you were interested in this. Did you want to book this or not? Obviously don't say it like that though. When you do it, as far as your whole process is really up to you. So that's what I see many agents struggle with, is what is my system or process from when someone finds out about me to when they book with me? There's all this stuff in the middle, right? Qualifying leads, what is that? When does that happen? I can't exactly answer this for you because it's going to be different for every single person. You might decide that you want to have a discovery call before you charge a fee. This is especially true if you're getting up into the hundreds of dollars. Now, it's not required. I know several travel agents who charge $400 to $500 for a planning fee. So that means you're paying them and they're getting commissions on the back end. And they will not even get on the phone with you or on a Zoom call until you pay that. Now, usually this is because they've built up some other channel, right? A YouTube channel, a podcast. So the person who is paying this fee already knows them really well, but you might decide, okay, I'm going to have a discovery call first, basically a sales call, and you'll meet with them for 15-20 minutes. You'll explain what the service includes. You'll see if you want to work with them. Are they qualified to work with you in a way? Are they ready to book? And then they will maybe pay the fee right there on the call, or you might have it where it's a completely automated service. They can book it from Instagram, and then maybe after they pay, they get a calendar link to get a time onto your calendar, or maybe there's no call. Like, you get to choose how this is. That's why it's hard for me to tell you, because it depends on how you want to do this. I have some agents, like some of my Gen Z travel agents, they get leads on TikTok. Everything is done in DMs and Messenger, and they really don't ever talk to their clients like on the phone at all. And then I have others who they don't do anything on social media. Everything is done offline through personal networking and referrals. So there's no wrong way, but you do need to know what your process is. And if you're interested in me breaking that down, like how you actually build that out, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video about that. But if you don't need it, then, I won't. So let me know. But you should definitely charge a research fee if you're going to do it before you answer too many questions. Now, I will answer a couple, and of course it depends on my mood too, right? Like, how much time do I have? Have they already been asking a lot? And I do this a bit too, even with this work, right? Like, I have many videos here on this YouTube channel that if you are a travel agent trying to learn more, or if you're thinking about becoming a travel agent, there are many videos for you to watch. But say you go through these videos and then you still have some questions maybe personal to you. So you send me a DM on Instagram, which you're welcome to do, by the way. I'll put my QR code up on the screen. If you ever have a question about anything I talk about in any of my videos, you can send me a DM on Instagram over at Travel Agent Haven. I'm happy to answer as much as I can. But I will often tell you this in DMs as well. There's only so much that's really fair of me to answer. And I try to be really generous with my time. But at a certain point, like depending on how personal the situation is or what I'm sensing you're needing, it might make more sense for you to book a one-on-one call with me, or for me to get you into one of my programs, because I know, okay, what she really needs is in here. Let's get her over here. That's all it is. And that's the same thing that you're doing. You're like, okay, this person has a need or desire. This is what they need. I really do believe this service is best. Let me connect them to that. That's really all good soulful sales is. But you definitely need to have clear boundaries, and that's important for any kind of service provider, but travel agents especially. Okay, how much do you charge? That is always a very hard question. I already gave a clue for this, that when you charge, no matter what you charge at first, it should always be lower than what you will want to eventually charge. So I would say have a few minutes and think about, maybe you even have that number that comes to your head immediately. What do I eventually want to charge? If you eventually want to charge $200, $400, or $500, that's great. You can try charging that at first. I'm definitely not going to tell anybody they can't. However, I'm going to tell you, just based on my experience, you you want to start lower, the lowest you can possibly accept, because think about it. You have to be able to say this number out loud with confidence. Can you say out loud, it's $400 to work with me? If that feels really to say, like you feel your throat tighten up or you get nervous, then it's not going to work. You can start with a higher number and just stand in the mirror and practice it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good, valuable skill. But I'm telling you, you have to start with the number that you're comfortable saying out loud. And also you have to think about your comfort as far as what you can deliver. I always think about it that no matter what I charge for a course, a one-on-one session, services as a travel agent, I'm always thinking, can I deliver 10x in value? If I charge $25 for something, in my head, I'm saying that course or program is going to be worth at least $250. So that flight course I mentioned, I want to say a $27 or so as of when I'm recording this. It could be higher by the time you see it, right? Because prices change. But let's say it's $27. That means in my head that if you buy this course as it is right now, that it's going to be worth at least $270 in value. And I think it is, because if you master Google Flights and you can save hundreds or thousands of dollars on even one flight, wouldn't that be worth it for you? And then especially as a travel agent, because then you can take that knowledge, offer that as a service, charge a flight research fee, and you can make that back in one session or even more than that back. So I feel really confident with that course, what's included at that price. And I also just want to say one big trap that service providers and travel agents fall into as well is that we have to offer more in order to have something be more valuable, and that's not true. You have to offer the whole world for anything, right? For $25 especially, but even for $400 or $500. You want to be really clear on what the service includes and what it doesn't include, and you want to be able to communicate that to the client. You also want to consider the time it will take you though. So if you're doing a really simple itinerary and you're charging more so for itinerary planning, which we'll talk about in a future video or maybe even a future series, because that is like its own thing really, then yeah, you might charge hundreds of dollars. In fact, I was just talking with a travel agent the other day and she was saying, I don't think I actually make that good of money itinerary planning because I charged $300, but after everything was said and done, I spent like 10 hours. So really I was making $30 an hour, when if she makes a commission as a travel agent, she can make $300 from 1 hour of work. You know what I mean? So it really just depends on what it's going to take you, and nobody can answer that but you. But I will also say the first few times you do anything, it's going to be longer, it's going to be harder, it's going to take more time and be more expensive time-wise or resource-wise than you think it will, right? So factor with that in mind and be okay with that, because all of this time that you're spending is learning and investment into the craft, into the trade that you're really learning, and then eventually you will be so fast. And also what's nice too, if you specialize in a destination, a type of travel, working with a particular kind of traveler, then you will build templates for yourself over time. And I know we're not really going into that yet. I'm trying so hard to not put everything in this video, but then you can take an itinerary that you've created for clients, turn that into a digital product, sell that on Etsy, and now you can make endless income from that, right? So instead of just selling it for maybe $200 once, you can sell that thing as a pre-made itinerary on Etsy for, I don't know, $5, $7, depending on what's included. Or you can turn that into a blog post that builds up traffic for you, which you can then monetize and make hundreds or thousands per month on top of all the other blog posts you make. So really just being a travel agent is one hat you wear. Same thing with when you're charging as an itinerary planner. All these different services and offers create a whole suite of offers and really a whole brand and business that you're building, which is what I love to help you do. So if you haven't already, definitely like this video if you like what you're hearing so far, and consider subscribing, because if you're not a travel agent yet, my channel is going to save you so much time and stress and heartache, because I made it specifically because everybody out there wants to help you become a travel agent because they're going to benefit from that somehow financially, but they're not all going to help you become a good, profitable, successful one. That's what this channel is for. Okay, that got preachy. Moving on. So how do you actually charge it, right? What do you do to physically set it up? You're going to want to have some kind of agreement, and it can be very, very simple, but a service agreement or a planning agreement. You can use a tool or an app called Dubsado to automate this process. You can even use something as simple as TidyCal. I actually really love TidyCal, and if you've ever booked anything with me, then you've probably seen it. Let me actually show you what this looks like. So say you decided, okay, you did want to work with me as a travel agent. Let me actually show you what you would end up booking. Okay, so this is TidyCal, and this is exactly what I use for basically everything. That's what I use now for client calls, both on the travel agent coaching side and as a travel agent myself. If I am having someone make a call, I use this. And one of the reasons I like TidyCal is the fact that it puts multiple processes in one, right? Okay, here's the calendar link. You can pick a time if we are going to meet live. I do like meeting people for like 15, 20 minutes, because even as a travel agent, agent, I get a really good sense of their readiness and what they actually need from me and what their budget is. It's just so much easier to put them at ease and talk about these things over a Zoom call where they can see me face to face, right? We're just hanging out. It helps to build rapport. And I think that's really important, even though I'm also equally comfortable talking via Messenger or DMs. So we'll talk back and forth, and then eventually I will send them a calendar link. They will pay, they will get on the calendar. Now for this specific one that I'm showing you, this one isn't a paid one, because this is like when someone wants to become a travel agent with me, like on this channel. I'll put the link down there too so you can see what I mean from the user perspective. And then I set them up and help them onboard, right? This is where you log in for the first time, all that. But what you would see if I was charging for this call is once they select a time, they're going to put in their information, but they're also going to pay. So what's really nice is any questions you would have, like on a customer information form, any kind of question you would ask to help qualify the client, are they really ready to book? What's their budget? You can actually ask some of these things before you even get onto a live call with them. So what I would do, especially when I was teaching full time and I only had 3 or 4, maybe 5 hours on Saturdays to do this, is I would get as much information as I possibly could. So by the time I even got on a sales call with them, I already had a little bit of information, right? And the nice thing about this is by that time, they've already paid me. So even if they don't end up working with me, they don't end up booking with me, I at least got paid for my research and time. And then when I meet with them, even if they don't end up working with me, they still have the itinerary, they still have the flight information, whatever it is, so that they can do whatever it is they need to do. So even if they don't end up booking it with me, it's still a really great service for them, because they can even take the research I did and go work with someone else. And I know that's something that many of us don't really like to think about or have as travel agents, but if they paid me, then I don't care. It's like, it's okay. And I built rapport with them for future offers. So they would just choose a date, they would choose a time. And for this call, I don't have a lot of information because I don't need a lot of information, but I would say that name and the email are the most important ones. You'll hear me talk a lot about email marketing. It is so important to be building an email list, but at least in the beginning, even if you're not doing anything with email marketing, you do want to be building a leads list, which just means a list of people who are interested, who you can call back and follow up with. But this is part of that process. So in the process of actually selling and booking clients, we're also building our email list and our leads list. So I will put the link for TidyCal down below. I will also say there are other services you can use, right? If you pay for Google Workspace, you can actually do this. And let me see if I have it on this account. I have so many Google accounts. The only problem with the appointment scheduler in Google is you can't charge for it. At least as of right now. That might change in the future. So maybe when you're watching this video in the future, that might be different, but you can set up a calendar here. The only thing is you can't charge for that time. And we're talking about research fees, right? But if you are thinking about, okay, I need to be thinking about my process and managing my time, then consider at least putting your hours on a calendar, because it really does make things so much more organized. Another alternative is Calendly, but I will say I stopped using Calendly when they increased their prices because it's a monthly subscription. So it was like $16 per month to be able to charge on Calendly, and then you still get charged Stripe and PayPal fees. Stripe and PayPal are your payment processors. They're how you actually collect the money. So both Calendly and TidyCal have connections to those. But Calendly, I was paying $16. That ends up being about $200 a year that you pay in perpetuity, versus TidyCal, you pay for once and then you're done. And I really love that. So I will have links to everything I mentioned in the description. But if you want to start with Google and not charge, that's okay. Really, I want you to be thinking about what is your whole process from start to finish when someone finds you or finds out that you're a travel agent to when they end up booking with you and working with you, and then eventually hopefully referring you to their friends. Okay, so we'll pretend that you have already put everything together. You have it ready. You know what your price is. Maybe you've even practiced in the mirror saying it. At some point, somebody is going to have an objection. Just means either a problem with what you're saying, right? It could be adversarial, although usually it's not. It's usually just a misunderstanding or lack of understanding. So they might say something like, oh, I thought that the service was free, or I thought working with a travel agent was free. Why are you charging? Other people don't charge. Now, you can choose how you respond. I've seen some people take the sassier end where they say, go find somebody else. And I mean, you could if you're not worried about keeping or getting a certain amount of clients, but you can also just honestly and politely justify what you do and why you do it. So for me, I would say I don't sell packages. I design custom itineraries for my individual clients. And because this is a higher touch, individualized, customized service, I charge for my time and expertise. It's very professional, but it politely explains what it is you're charging and why, what is included, right? They just need to know what do they get, especially if it's something they haven't heard of before. If they say something like, can I see options first? It's tough because it really depends on what you're charging for, right? If I'm planning a custom trip for Ireland, I have so many clients who have gone to Ireland, I could probably even share an example of their trip, but I know that at least one travel agent is seeing this and wondering, or future travel agent, and wondering, wouldn't they just go and book it themselves? They could. That's literally always the risk, right? I mean, it's the same thing with real estate agents. You could go buy a house yourself, or you can go look on Zillow and buy directly from the seller. You could do that, right? But the real estate agents are there to handle the paperwork and all the other stuff. It's the same exact thing as a travel agent. So there are some people who will always go and book on their end, and maybe they're happy with their trip, or maybe they don't even realize what they're missing because they don't know what they don't know, or they end up having a mistake, or they didn't realize, oh no, I have to charge a resort fee, so actually I'm paying $600 more for my trip than I thought. I thought I was saving money, but actually the travel agent was trying to educate me. Whoops. There's so many things that can happen, right? So you have to decide what you will say and when, and again, what is included in the research fee or itinerary planning fee, what will they get, when will they get it, so on. If you're nervous about charging one, there is so much to this. A lot of it is down to self-worth and feeling like, what do I deserve, and all kinds of other stuff, which we'll talk about eventually, because money can bring up so many things for us personally, but it really is normal. Service providers charge for things every day, and I don't know if this will make you feel better because this isn't necessarily good, but there are people who charge every single day for things that have no value or very little value. They aren't even experts in their field. They're just more confident than you, and because they're more confident and better at sales and marketing, they're making more money, which is such a sad thing, because if you actually do have the experience and the expertise and you really do care about your clients, they should actually be grateful, because you're going to save them so much time and stress that paying you $25, $50 for a flight research fee or hundreds of dollars for your itinerary planning services. It's a service that you're providing to them, and they're going to be happy and even excited to pay it, because they're not excited about necessarily paying you or losing the money, quote unquote, which again is just like a weird reframe we have around that. They're excited about what they're going to get for that money. It could even maybe help to think about what you get excited to buy. Do you get excited paying for plane tickets? I do. Not because I paid $1,000 or a few hundred for a plane ticket, but because of what that purchase means. It means I'm going on a trip. It means my vacation became real. So we have to think about that. People buy for various reasons, and it can feel weird at first because we can feel like we're taking money from them, but we're not. It's an exchange of value. They're giving you money in exchange for a service that you are going to provide, and you're going to do such a good job, because I don't believe you'd be watching this video unless you really cared about your client. You also don't have to charge a massive fee, right? I recommend starting low anyway, until and unless you have many testimonials and reviews. Yes, you can absolutely charge a research fee. Yes, clients will pay it when you explain the value. And yeah, some won't. And that's just how it is. That's always how it is. There will always be someone who says your fee is too expensive, that trip is too expensive. They're either not your ideal client, or at least they're not right now. And that's okay. I've had people actually tell me that they've saved up to go on one of my trips. If people see the value, then they will prioritize it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly do wish it was helpful. If you have any questions for me, drop them down in the comments below, or if you'd rather ask me a question personally or one-on-one, you can send me a DM on Instagram over at Travel Agent Haven. I'll be sure to put the QR code up on the screen. Take your phone, act like you're going to take a picture, point it to the QR code. It will take you right to my Instagram profile. Can you do me a favor? Can you go ahead and hit like? That shows YouTube that this is a good video, so I appreciate it. And it also helps them show videos to other travel agents or people who are thinking about becoming travel agents, so that they can come into this business better prepared and have fewer people ghosting them. So thank you for that. And if you want to learn more, either about making more money working fewer hours as a travel agent, or if you're thinking about becoming a travel agent, then definitely subscribe, because my channel is made just for you. Again, my name is Brittany. I'm the founder of Travel Agent Haven, and we'll talk soon.